He's usually one of the first to arrive and the last to leave when there's a disaster in Kenya, something he takes pride in.
I would say what takes me and what makes me continue doing this job is the ability and the opportunity it offers me to be able to make a difference in the lives of ordinary people, but who are vulnerable.
As the head of Kenya's Red Cross, he's trying to take the country's emergency response capability to the next level, and he believes the people of his continent will be the driving force behind that.
A lot of time people only know about international humanitarian actors coming to Africa, but there's a lot being done in these countries by national actors that haven't been given the same level of prominence, of the same level of visibility, which is something that needs to work on.
This week on African Voices, Abbas Gullet, the Secretary General of Kenya's Red Cross Society, takes us inside the organization and talks about the events that have inspired him to help people in need.
Good afternoon, Dispatch.
Right, what is this?
Well, this is the Central Business District of Nairobi, where we now are linked to the cameras that overlooks the city of Nairobi, and we're able to tell very quickly if there's anything happening. We learned this in, I think it was 2007, 2008, when we had the Nakoma downtown fire in a shopping mall.
Abbas Gullet has led the Kenya Red Cross Society since 2002. During his tenure, the society has grown from an organization deeply in debt and underfunded to one that now operates with more than $23 million in assets.
20 years.
This response center is just one of the improvements he's made. When you're calling 1199, you're coming to this call center here.
You're coming to this call center here. Someone will pick it up and would ask you what you're calling for, and they'll be able to say if it is an emergency or a disaster, that house is on fire, the building that has collapsed, or the major road accidents. This will be told, and the ambulance company on the other side will be dispatched to go to deal with that problem. But if it is other emergencies that need volunteers, then instruction will be given from here to our network of 3 branches that we have in the city of Nairobi.
Gullet lost his mother and father when he was just 5 years old and was raised by adopted parents in Mombasa, Kenya. He says those events instilled in him the value of giving back, which is part of why he started volunteering at the Red Cross at the age of 14.
For you personally, Abbas, what is it that you like about doing in this job?
Well, as I said, I've been in this job now for close to 41 years. It's been the biggest part of my adult life. I'm now 55, and I would say what takes me and what makes me continue doing this job is the ability and the opportunity it offers me to be able to make a difference in the lives of ordinary people, but who are vulnerable for man-made disasters, natural disasters, whether it's health, whether it's in food security situation, whether it's in drought, whether it's in conflict. The ability to bring back hope to them, to give them back their dignity, to have a smile on their faces, to have little kids who can have a basic normal life, and ability that God has given me to touch their lives and to make that little difference is something that I could never dream to get anywhere else.
When we look at the continent overall, how do you see the healthcare situation there and how Kenya is positioned in that context?
Overall, continental-wide, we have a challenge on healthcare, on issues of HIV/AIDS, on malaria, on communicable diseases, and these are things that we have to deal with. But from where I sit, I would say that from the Red Cross, Red Crescent perspective, where we have the largest network of national societies and volunteers, the major issue for me is these institutions becoming better governed, better managed, and better led in order for them to be able to respond. And I think this is where the challenge is. You're able to show the dashboard?
Pardon?
Dashboard of that car?
So when the ignition is on, it normally is on green. When it is stationary and it's turned off, it is yellow.
Gullet is able to keep up with all his response vehicles at all times through this system.
So that's interesting because you have its GPS location, the voltages, the engine hours, so you're actually able to monitor even the fuel.
He feels keeping track of his assets is crucial in order to get them to where they're needed as quickly as possible.
And these things are all numbered and properly documented, and with bin cards and all that. So, and they're stacked ready to go.
So if something needs to be dispatched and they call you, and your coordinator here is handling it, what happens? Like, how does it go from here to a remote area, for example?
So once they get a requisition, or half of this can go out in one, we have trucks that are ready, and the trucks are pre-positioned to take them to where they're meant to go. And then when new ones come in is to replenish the stock. Is
the goal with all these warehouses to have them all always at capacity, because you never know when you might need them?
Yeah. So if it is shelter material, if it's health material, if it is clothing, if it is food items, although we don't like to keep food, but sometimes we keep small stocks for just real emergencies. All the 9 warehouses are fully stocked with different items. We also warehouse and store things for UNICEF and sometimes WHO to keep their things here when they have no space elsewhere.
Gullet believes that the Kenya Red Cross should always try to make the most of what they have, but he does admit they can always use more.
I mean, today, I can say I need resources, financial material, but for me, I would say today, what is required is for us to develop technologies that we can give out to people to finance. And I wouldn't want to say money is my problem. I can say money is my problem, but it's everyone's problem. The problem for me is the challenge for me is to push the government to put legislation and to put policies in place that we can use to be able to better respond. One good thing in this country that goes for this country very well is the amount of educated people. What we have done and transformed Kenya Red Cross is hiring local indigenous Kenyans, but with the know-how and with the right requisite education and the right attitude, and they just need leadership. What we've done with building the society itself, that today we're the largest humanitarian actor, is to show that it's actually possible, it can be done. And I would say that we need more support financially, materially, yes, from the government, but also we are working with the private sector, and I can't thank the private sector enough for their trust and confidence in Kenya Red Cross to achieve what we have today.
Next, Gullet talks about the event that changed his life and the future of emergency response in Kenya.